that Good Friday, getting ready to go about unwinding after a long week. But you see that we can only go about embracing the journey from a place that makes sense to us. And the reason I go about saying that is this: everybody wants to be right. But if we go about examining what is really right, because in order for somebody to win, someone else must lose. Is that right? In order for there to be gains, there must be losses. So the thing that I want to go about coming forth with is that stop worrying about everybody else. Everybody else have their own thing going on. And the reason I go about saying that is this: if you are worried about other people, you can't be doing nothing progressive in your life. Because the last time I checked, wasn't nobody life perfect. And one thing about life is there's always something that needs attending to. There's always something that needs your undivided attention. Now, if you are going around worrying about what others are saying, doing, or how they go about portraying themselves, you need to redirect your focus. And in redirecting your focus, you need to make it a center of attention where you go about saying that I need to be prioritized. And in being prioritized, I need to go about making sure that I'm okay, because it's not okay when we go about looking and can go about being descriptive of what everybody else got going on. Like they had this little old lady. She was on my grandmama's block. Now this lady could go about breaking down from sun up to sundown everything that transpired throughout the day. She could tell you who came, who stayed, who talked, who dropped, who looked, and all of that. But as a kid, certain things really don't hit you. But the older I got, it started to make sense in that a lot of people go about paying attention to other people's lives only because only because they feel that their life is shit. And because they feel their life is shit, it's better they go about paying attention to everybody else's business. That's not the way to go about doing things. The basic notion is that there's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth. But if your attention is elsewhere, how could you ever go about seeing what needs to be addressed? And that's why we have to go about updating the channel name and into being emancipated. because we need to go about emancipating the way how we go about viewing life. We need to go about freeing ourselves and not becoming bogged down by these social immoral things that goes about taking place. When one gets to know better, then one could go about doing better. But the only way one could go about getting better is when they start going about reaching out to do better. Looking at other people's business is not going to help you get better. It's not going to make you understand why you are doing the things you're doing. But everybody got something to say. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Majority of the shit they talking about is worthlessness. But yet you keep listening, you keep feeding into that worthlessness. It sounds cute, it sounds funny, but how is that helping you? I'll wait. How is that helping you to become a better person? By paying attention to everybody else's business. How is that helping you go about realizing that the financial situation that you're in is because of how you've been spending your money? But we carry on with such energy that we go about directing our energies in all the wrong places. And then wondering why we not getting where we're supposed to get. So they have this old question, an old statement I would say. You ask me no questions, I will tell you no lie. If you are going outside of yourself in order to go about finding out who you are, it's a lie. Because everything is just perception based. There's a three-part equation to this. There's the real you, there's the perception you, and then there's the world's perception of you. Now, which of those do you choose to go about incorporating in your daily life? Then that will show where you're going to take your life. But don't be caught up in the notion that people know you better than you know yourself. Because as human beings, at every encounter, we only see certain aspects of you. We only go about seeing the external and what you go about portraying. And the reason I go about saying this in this manner is that the general question is, how are you doing? It's just a common salutation that people go about exchanging as they meet each other. And the populist answer is, oh, everything is good. But as you talk to the person on a deeper level, the person expresses what's going on. But because we have come to greet and accept this salutation of everything is good, we try to go about hiding what is impacting us and taking us down. But if we look around, everybody say they good. Now, if everybody was good, would there need to be a need for such point of rock bottom? The reason I bring up the point of rock bottom is that majority of humanity have become accustomed to lying to themselves. And in lying to yourself, you don't even come to realize that you're lying. Lying is programming. The reason I say lying is a programming is only because I am yet to see a baby that knows how to lie. These are learned behaviors. These are attributes in which we go about picking up from home and practicing the older we get. But case in point, you see there's no there's no baseline in which anything is established. And since things aren't established, we become dismissive of everything that we go about encountering and go about telling ourselves that things will be okay. But things cannot be okay. Things will never get better if we do not go about addressing the primary concern and matter at hand. You see. But in being dismissive, it's a formation of lying. You know that something needs to be done, but rather than going about addressing the matter at hand, we put it off. And in putting it off, we tell ourselves these things, which only goes about incorporating a certain a certain disassociation with what's going on. And when what's going on, we are starting to go about harnessing the ideology of being dismissive to the problems that we go about encountering. And the older we get, the better we get at it. And before you know it, the snowball effects comes into place, wherein that you practice something long enough, you're able to go about getting good at it, no matter what it is. You practice it long enough, you're going to develop some skill that will grow along the way. And that's why we have to be careful in regards to what we go about incorporating or what we go about holding on to. Because when we start to lie to ourselves, we become entangled in a web. And the web goes as this, though it leaves us at a disadvantage. And being at that disadvantage, we don't even realize we have drifted away from the pair, and we have no motor, we have no oars, or we don't even have a life vest in which to go about helping ourselves, because we have become so estranged and strayed away from the truth so much that we don't realize how much we are going forth damaging ourselves. and in damaging ourselves, we isolate. And in isolating, we believe that no one will understand because the problems are so insurmountable and they cannot be comprehended by the common man. But you see how a lie could take you so far out of the way and becoming a disadvantage to yourself that it will leave you feeling estranged to yourself. And that is why it is key that I had to go about bringing out the emancipated, because we need to become free from the things that is going forth and hindering us in the way how we go about doing life, the way how we go about conducting ourselves in our lives, the way how we go about addressing some of the issues that we either choose not to go about addressing, turning away from, or rather just not understanding. But it has to be a personal choice. And in that personal choice, you have to ask yourself, am I free? Am I free from all things that goes about hindering me? Am I free from all things which goes about holding me back? Because that's a choice that only you could make. Now that's my blessing. One.